In the criminal justice system, the people,
Pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care.
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law, you're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
Well, a commission has released a report, and it's a grim job that is done after these things, but here it is, something that will come as no surprise to any of you. Law enforcement should have seized a man's guns and put him in protective custody weeks before he committed Maine's deadliest mass shooting.
Yeah.
This independent commission has been reviewing the events that led up to Army Reservist Robert Card killing 18 people at a bowling alley and a bar in Lewiston. It was October 25th when it all happened, and the subsequent response was also a part of the commission's review. The report, now an interim report just issued, criticized by name a sergeant who responded to a report 5 weeks before the shooting, and that report indicated that Card was suffering from some sort of mental health crisis after he'd previously assaulted a friend and threatened to shoot up the armory.
And they knew it, and they went and they did a stakeout to try to find him, and it was too much trouble. They're like, yeah, whatever. We know, and, we couldn't find him, so we left.
The commission found that this sergeant, Schofield is his name, should have realized that he had probable cause to start a so-called yellow flag process, which allows a judge to temporarily remove somebody's guns during a psychiatric health crisis. Leroy Walker, whose son Joseph was killed in the shooting, said that the commission's finding that the yellow flag law could have been implemented but wasn't reflected what victims' families have known all this time. I mean, the whole thing, as Kim said, or implied, was sort of laid out to begin with. It was clearly a failure on the part of law enforcement. Maine State Police and the Sheriff's Office not responding. But the panel's work apparently is not finished. This is an interim report. It was intended to provide policymakers and law enforcement with key information. Maybe they want to act on that. But at this time, the full report hasn't been released. It's a brutal, brutal chapter in this ongoing story of the United States of guns. But wow, with all of those clues, the FBI has returned 22 looted artifacts to Japan. They were discovered in a Massachusetts attic.
What?
They were stolen during the Okinawa battle. So it was a U.S. soldier who stole these things, right? And they're 22 of these centuries-old artifacts. The family discovered these artifacts in their late father's attic in Massachusetts.
That's
Agents
quite
with
a find. Like, what have you been keeping up here, Dad?
Yeah, exactly. What else did they discover? Wait till they find his porn collection, everyone. That's going to really be it. Agents with the FBI's Boston division on Friday announced that the return of the looted items followed a lengthy investigation that began when they received a call from a family who came across those items while sorting through their dead father's belongings. So I give the family credit for calling the FBI, wanting to get these things back. The father was a Second World War veteran, but listen to this, had not served in the Pacific Theater. So they may have been purloined by someone over there, but it wasn't by this guy. He just acquired them somehow, the grandfather, apparently. Wow. The art crime coordinator, Jeffrey Kelly of the FBI's Boston office, said that the man's children came across some of what appeared to be very valuable Asian art. Some scrolls, pottery pieces, an ancient map. They look old and valuable. And they determined in looking at all of these different artifacts that at least 20 years ago, one of these things, the scrolls, had been entered into the FBI's National Stolen Art File. So they are on their way back to being returned. I mean, again, this is the cultural identity that in a way, if you want to look at it that way, is stolen. And so that's why that becomes a significant discovery and then return. In Los Angeles, and shout out to all my pals in Los Angeles, there's a problem. And I mention this problem because it may be also an issue where you live if you don't live in Los Angeles. The health inspectors are, you know, the people who run around putting like an A or a B or a C on the different restaurants?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those people, there are not enough of them.
Uh-oh.
And they are overwhelmed. So what's happening is that the inspections are falling way behind, but I don't mean like a month behind or 2 months behind, but they're falling years behind now. And they're so overwhelmed by the stack of inspections they have to do that morale is low and staff vacancy rates are high. One of these people, who is an inspector, took their own life.
Oh, God.
Yeah, 55-year-old health inspector. Now, I mean, a lot of things can go into somebody taking their own life. I'm not saying they did it because there was just a backlog of restaurant inspections, but what I am saying is that didn't help morale. They already feel a bit overwhelmed. There are roughly 18,000 high-risk food facilities in the county that the health department should have inspected 3 times last year, but fewer than 2% were inspected.
This is in Los Angeles County?
That's right.
So you guys are flying blind when you're going to a restaurant. You don't know if there's, rat droppings in the back or not because no one's checked because there's not enough of these people to go around and look.
Yes, I think that's exactly right. Kim has stated it precisely.
I think I'll be eating at home. Thank you very much.
Well, the other thing is that
I blame you.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the deal is, even if a restaurant got an A rating, as you see here in the picture, the idea is that it's supposed to be inspected multiple times during a year, but it's not getting those multiple inspections. And the Westin Bonaventure's main kitchen, they pose this as an example, hadn't been inspected for 8 months when they had an outbreak of this bacterium that can spread through infected food. More than 30 people were infected. 4 guests were hospitalized, and one told by her doctor that her kidneys were shutting down. That's because of bad food, infected food. So
how does that happen? Improper refrigeration, or
yeah, exactly. I mean, it could be something that's left on the counter too long. It gets to room temperature, and it's pretty crazy. I can tell you what happened at the Westin Bonaventure. They found 8 live German cockroaches, a dead American cockroach. I love that they know the various cockroach species. But anyway, it's a pretty brutal situation with disease and death down in Los Angeles, and restaurant inspectors in crisis. They are understaffed. So if that seems like the kind of work you'd like to do, throw your application in. They are hiring down in L.A., and that is Law and Disorder for today.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.